Hello, and welcome to Powers RC. My name is Sean Powers, and typically on this channel you'll see running videos set to music or pictures of my builds and stuff like that. But a few months ago I did a Blackfoot tribute on a WT-01N chassis, and I got a lot of comments and questions and private messages asking me how I did the lighting and everything else with this build. So in this video I decided to get in front of the camera and kind of go through what I did with this model and how I did the lighting. Some of it was custom, some of it's store-bought. If you have any skills with a soldering iron and tape, you can probably do this to just about any model that you have if you want to go full lighting. You just need a controller with a lot of channels and a lighting kit. So I will pop the top off of the Blackfoot Tribute. And this is my Blackfoot Tribute. Like I said, it is built on a WT-01N chassis. It actually began its life as a Tamiya Amarok, it's a VW truck. That kit that I got from TamiyaUSA.com, and I can put a link to that in the description if you want to see it. It's a pretty unique model. You don't see too many of the Amaroks around. And if you've ever heard of the WT-01 chassis, Blackfoot 3 is actually built on the WT-01. The WT-01N is the same chassis, but has a narrower wheelbase to kind of give it a more of a 4x4 lifted truck look rather than the monster truck look. That's what I used for this model. Since it's the similar chassis as the Blackfoot 3, I thought an original Blackfoot Tribute with a modern body would be kind of cool. As a vision I had. And this body is the Proline 2017 F-150 Raptor body. As you can see, I kind of had to really cut the wheel wells out so that the suspension would work and all that good stuff. This body does have a pretty high travel suspension. I had to cut away what makes a Ford F-150 Raptor look like a Raptor because it has the big fenders and wheel wells. But I'm still happy with the way the body came out on this model. If I had it to do over again, I probably would have picked something like a CC01 or an 02 a trail type truck body that's more scale-like, so I wouldn't have to cut up the fender so bad. But I'm still happy with it and the way it worked. But moving on from the model and the body, we'll kind of get into what's under the hood. And as you can see, what we have, the lights all work. I've got a switch on my remote, turns on the parking lights, turns on the headlights, then turns on the driving lights, fog lights, and then you can turn them off. If you just leave the switch, they come on in sequence. The one on the other side is not burned out, it's taken out, so I can demonstrate how that was put in later. So that is supposed to look like that. And then of course over here I've got the bar lights on a different switch, so I can run with them, without them, with only them, because why not? So that is the lighting on here. And then of course with this kit and most lighting kits, you've got the turn signals. And then when we switch around to the back, I have the motor unplugged so this doesn't run away on me, but you've got the hazard lights when it's stopped. You go forward, I'm going forward, and of course no go with no motor. The lights turn off and look just kind of like you're driving down the road with no lights on. Hit the brakes come on, and then one more time for reverse, and the reverse lights come on. And then again, if you want to run with your lights on, there's running with lights on, and so on and so forth there. So let's take the body off and see what the wiring and everything looks like. Alright. Underneath, again, it's just your typical WT-01N chassis. Okay, and if you look right there on the top, that is the brain of the unit. And it is a multi-function, I believe it's a 4-channel light controller that I purchased from RC Mart. And I see a lot of comments on the various Facebook groups that I'm a part of, that a lot of you probably are as well, asking if RC Mart is a legit supplier, and yes, they are. They're out of Hong Kong, so it takes a little while for some of the shipments to get here. In big models, the shipping is kind of expensive here to the US, but small stuff like this, the shipping's pretty reasonable. And you're not going to get it overnight. It's going to take a week or two sometimes to get here, but the prices are right. If you're willing to wait, RC Mart is a good RC supplier. So from that, the main brain, as you can see, it's got reverse, your auxiliary lights, your fog lights, your roof lights, which is the bar light, your brake lights, and then your various different front lights and that sort of thing. I believe this unit is actually meant for more of a truck, maybe like a semi-truck with more lights and stuff like that. So I have a couple channels left, and some channels are connected to others and that sort of thing. And then this little button here that I've got taped on, you can hardly see it because it's so small, but there's an instruction manual, and as you turn on the unit, if you're holding that button, it gets you into the menu mode, and then the number of taps you push on the button adjusts which lights do what, and what happens when you pull the trigger, and which lights come on with which lights, and that sort of thing. A lot of choices there. It works great. It comes here to this subunit, which is kind of the bridge between your receiver and your lights. So this little unit takes the information from your receiver and then takes it to the brain and then adjusts the lights based on what you're doing in the various channels. There is a place to add extra battery pack, like I think it's a 4 AA pack you can add to this, or you can add a BEC. I did purchase a BEC for it, but I haven't really needed it. Now my run times, I'm just running a 7.2 NIM on this because that's all that fits in this chassis, with the round holes. I know you can get lipos that are round, but I don't have any. I just have the NIM for this. So the run times are cut probably 25% with the lights on, but there's no brownouts or anything. I've got the lights turned up almost as high as they can go on some of them. The bar lights, I do have them all the way up, and then the fog lights are all the way up, and I think they've got 4 settings. And it doesn't dim, and they work fine, other than maybe decreasing battery life. So I haven't hooked the BEC up yet. I may in the future, but haven't really needed it. But that is an option. If I were to add more lights, which I could, it's probably something I would need, or extra battery pack, something like that, to give it a little more power. Now running the lights was actually fairly easy. As you can see, I used quite a bit of aluminum tape. 2 reasons. One, because light does not transfer through the tape, and it's very strong and rigid, doesn't come off very well. And I also had a lot of this from a project left over in a little bit of the home improvement realm, so it just made sense to use that. It's sticky and stiff, so it worked very well. So here I kind of left this apart so you can kind of see how I did the light buckets. This is just a piece of plastic bubble. I actually got this set, it was a card of cut out your own light buckets from eBay. It was like $3. So as you can see, it's not quite the right shape, but it works. By the time you customize it with the aluminum tape, it kind of doubles up your light bucket, so you get a little bit more reflectivity and that sort of thing out of the front. So this is the one I left off, so you can see how it works, and we'll turn this light off so it's actually working. So you see, this is a custom one that I made with 3 bulbs, and I just twisted them together and then soldered it underneath. And then these are the LED bulbs, again from eBay, that I purchased. A bunch of different LEDs, different colors. There's even blue and green in these packs, and extra red for extra taillights and stuff if you wanted to add more lights. And basically all I did, of course you got the Ford Raptor, has these 3 lights in the front that come on in the grill. that is a traditional look for the Ford Raptor F-150, those 3 lights. So that was easy, is just drilling a hole big enough for the lights to stick through, and then I just did a little hot glue to hold them in place. To get the fog light, I put 3 of those together, and then basically just kind of ran the wires. Okay, on the taillights I did something a little different. It's hard to tell, but there are actually no light buckets in there. I just taped the LED bulbs to the corner of the body, and they worked out pretty well. It was actually easier to do that than to mess with the light buckets, and I just kind of got towards the end of the project, and I thought, well, what if I do that because of the curve of the taillights and that sort of thing. It worked out great. So if you don't have light buckets, that's okay. So that's basically how I did it. You know, I won't go into how to solder and everything, but each one of these wires are soldered to the end of the LED to make sure they don't come off. For the wiring, I actually just used, I had some servo wire left over. It was the right gauge and everything. And then you can just pull these apart. You know, it comes in 3. So sometimes you get a red and a white or a red and a black. So when I did that, just to keep my wiring straight, I always kind of use the motto, red is always positive, black is always negative. So if you've got white that replaces one or the other, then it's the opposite. So if you have a red and a white, then the red is the positive and the white is negative. If you end up with a white and a black, then the white is positive and the black is negative. So that when I'm looking through there and having to fix my wiring or whatever, I always know that what the opposite wires are just by knowing red is always positive and black is always negative. So that if I see the white in there, then I automatically know what it is based on what color it is opposite to. So that's pretty much a real short version of how I did the lights. The key to getting the lights all in the right place first, and I'll show a picture of this, but I laid them all out on a piece of cardboard. I kind of drew a makeshift car on the cardboard and then taped the lights on there to kind of where I think I want them to go. And then as I added custom lights, I would label them on the board and something like that. And then as it came to put them in the body, I'd peel them off the board and then put them in the right place on the body. The body, the stickers, no, these are not original stickers. I actually did have somebody on one of the Facebook groups I posted say, how dare you cut up original Blackfoot stickers. Those are hard to find, blah, blah, blah. These are not original stickers. These are actually stickers from MCI, which everybody who does RC cars is probably familiar with, where you can get reproduction, original models stickers. So it's a combination of MCI stickers and some of the stickers that came with the body and that sort of thing. So no vintage hacking of stickers to customize. And again, just kind of laid the original shape stickers from the original Blackfoot and trimmed them to fit the Raptor. So there's a lot of custom cutting and stuff to make those stickers work. And then this light bar is something that I picked up, I think, from Tower Hobbies. The bad thing about that is it's actually metal, which is very heavy, and the negative to the WT-01N chassis is that it has the narrow wheelbase and does tend to tip. So putting that heavy weight up top did raise the center point of gravity a little high, so it is kind of tippy with this body. But although this is a runner, I don't run it too hard because the lights will fall out and break, and I don't want that. And that basically is how I got the lights in this 2017 Ford F-150 Raptor Blackfoot Tribute built on the WT-01N chassis. I didn't go into any tutorial, watch me solder type things, because there are a ton of how to solder videos and how to wire videos on YouTube, and I don't think I have anything to offer that's a huge game changer in that area with this project. If you're into RC, soldering is definitely something that you'll need to learn, or have a good friend who is willing to solder a lot of your wires for you. So take a look all over YouTube if you need any information on soldering. And thank you for taking the time to check out Powers RC. Please consider commenting, liking, and subscribing to see future running and build videos, or other videos such as this one, where I share what little bit I know about the this great RC hobby. Thanks again, and take care from the first person.